Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Rivalz Race Chat. Clinton Geoffrey here with Adam Ross. And we got some cool stuff on the show. We got some good guests coming in. We're excited to be here. It's starting to feel like race season. And we've got some news, Adam, that's really going to make it feel like race season. And we're excited to talk about everything else going on. How are things in your world, buddy?
Stressful. Clinton. I can't complain. I mean, things are good, but I'm not going to lie. It has been stressful lately.
Yeah, there's been a lot going on. Who would think iRacing would be so much trouble for us? But we put the Ush weekend season behind us. That hasn't really been a problem. That was a great success. We'll talk a little bit about that later on in the show. But as you can see on the rundown, Operation Green Flag, Mission Humberstone. We're hoping to have Matt Williamson on the show. Doug Leonard's supposed to join us. We're going to talk about the math of racing with no fans, and we'll also talk about the Canadian Sim Racing Series, which features some of the best racers around getting it done on the iRacing platform. So without further ado, let's jump in and talk about what Operation Green Flag, how it got going. We've got 2 dates to announce with more in the works and more to be coming up. I mean, I wish we had a show more than once a week, Adam, because it seems like as soon as we get off the air, we've got fresh stuff to announce every week.
No,
you don't want to do more than one show a week?
We have shows more than once a week. We got the Mindwell sessions on Thursdays. We had Friday Night Excitement on Fridays. We had the Canadian Sim Racing Series on Sundays. No more shows until
they're all over now. What are you going to do with yourself? You're going to have to play more online games.
I'm going to brush up on my iRacing skills. I'll be able to occupy myself. I'm pretty confident.
Well, I'm hoping
I'm pumped up.
I'll be able to get a haircut and shave my beard. It's getting out of hand.
I can't comment on that.
Yeah, you are looking a little darker than me. Grecian formula there, buddy. It's the lights. It's the bright lights overhead.
No, I got a trim.
Oh.
I got a trim. Angie cut my hair.
See, I did that to my kid, and I'm not letting anybody do that to me. Poor Jackson's got to hide out in his room, play Fortnite for another 3 weeks, but he ain't going to complain. Operation Green Flag, Adam. We had an opportunity with our broadcast stream. Obviously, came together with Dave Bittner at Humberstone to make a stream happen for his Lockdown Showdown event on June 13th. And the formula that they came up with just seemed to work. The math made sense to get all the cars back out racing. We'll talk about the math of racing with no fans, the full deal coming up in a little bit. But, we then decided to maybe branch this formula, if you can call it, out to some of the other events and see if we could get some of our other tracks up and running and get some events that make sense. There's no fans, but fans can watch it for free. The races are going to be replayed on Rev TV Canada, which is Mav TV Canada, rebranded. So the first one is the Lockdown Showdown, part of Operation Green Flag Mission Humberstone, as we branded it these past few days, 358 modifieds and Thunderstocks. And part of that Lockdown Showdown, Saturday, June 13th at 7 p.m. It'll be live on GeForce TV. Then we'll send the files over to Rev TV. They'll repackage it for primetime television, coast to coast to their 5.2 million viewers. 358 modifieds and Thunderstocks are on the card for round one of Operation Green Flag at Humberstone. And, things kind of took off, Adam. Let's quickly talk about Humberstone, how things have gone. Registrations have filled up quickly in the last week. I'm told they're well over 25 Thunderstocks already, and I heard close to 30, if not more, depending on who you talk to. I didn't get a definitive number today from Bittner, but things are going the right way. So drivers are going to have to pre-register, but the response has been good for Operation Green Flag round one at the Lockdown Showdown. Your thoughts and what you think is going to happen here at Humberstone going forward?
I think it's an amazing initiative, Clinton. And what I love about it is a lot of people have had to be fairly creative and generous and thoughtful to put these things together, because there are things in the racing industry that other people aren't meant to know. Like, a promoter is not meant to give away his secrets on where the revenue streams are, how they make the magic, how they're able to put on these shows. The racers generally don't release what kind of money they spend to get to the racetrack, because it's different for everybody. But what you'll find with Operation Green Flag is a number of entities, a lot of moving parts coming together to say, look, we can sacrifice this and we can provide this. This is what we can bring to the table to try to get some cars on the track, because the racers need it, the race teams need it, the race fans need it. Most importantly, in this equation, Clint, the racing industry needs this. The racing industry supports a lot of people in the province of Ontario. And if things remain at a standstill, if everyone just stays home and says, look, I'm not interested in sacrificing anything at all, I'm going to stay home, my race car is going to stay in the shop, or my track's going to remain closed, or it's a lot of people coming together to do something that I think is very, very positive.
Yeah, I mean, it helps us at least get the engines going of the sport. And, it's not a full-time replacement, but it gets things rolling a little bit. And I think that's healthy for the fuel suppliers, the tire suppliers, the parts suppliers, all these people who rely on the tracks are going to have a bit of income coming in so they can work with their, even help pay their taxes at the end of the year. So there's a lot of great
Well,
things that are going to come out of it.
and let's go a step further than that. Let's take Bicknell Racing Products or Grisdale Racing Products. You talk about suppliers, you think about Pete Bicknell, and maybe people think, he doesn't need the help. What about the dozens of people that are employed by Bicknell Racing Products, or the people that are employed by racewear companies around the province, or other racing type entities? So it's not just people that you think about quite obviously, but there's a lot of people with a lot at stake. And there's a lot of people that need the industry to stay alive, not just for selfish reasons, not just because, hey, I want to go racing, but because this is what brings their paycheck. And as generous as the government may or may not be right now, that's not going to last forever.
No, and so once things got going rolling at Humberstone with the 358s and the Thunderstocks, and everybody kind of took a step back, and you mentioned looked at the numbers and realized what the math is. There is opportunity, depending on the divisions, to get out there and have some races. Now, what I mean by that is the more expensive divisions, like the 358s and some of the other pricier divisions for the promoters, they're going to need some help sponsor wise to get on the track. But the lower divisions and the support divisions, their math works in this plan. It's a bit pricier. Pretty much across the board, it's been $250 for a team of 5, and I guess we can move up the math of no fans if we get talking about that. And if we have Matt or Doug join us, just let me know, Spencer, and we can get them on with us right away.
Yeah, Matt is on. Spencer is questioning his connection a little bit.
All right.
Well, let's give it a try.
We'll work on getting Matt on in just 1 second. When we see him on the screen, we'll know he's with us. And so, Adam, we have one Operation Green Flag race to announce, and that was the Humberstone race. We're going to announce another one here in about 5 minutes, which we're both super excited about. And I think a lot of people are going to be surprised when they see us working with this entity, because it's not really what you'd associate with us. But like we said, it's going to try and get everything rolling. If we got Matt, throw him up there, Spence. Hey, Matt, how's it going? We're talking about these races that are coming up. Of course, wow, Matt got a haircut. Who's cutting your hair?
Yeah, when did you join the military, Matt? Like, I talk about generous.
Okay, hold on.
I
could get a haircut like that if I wanted to just buzz my hair, but I want some style. No offense, Matt.
That has style.
This is it's a $20 Amazon razor. It's pretty sporty, isn't it?
That is
Works.
the hair looks the same when it went in the helmet as it comes out of the helmet haircut. So that's smart for a race car driver.
You should have
Matt, let's
left it
talk.
alone at the back, though. Get a big party going on at the back. Mullet. All the
I
racers are doing it.
tried. I honestly tried to get a mullet because I thought it would be funny, and I'm gonna buzz it anyways. So I tried to cut it into a mullet, but the $20 buzzers didn't really do that good. So I couldn't even cut a mullet with them, so I buzzed it right down to the wood.
For those of you who don't know Matt Williamson or maybe new to the program, Matt is a modified racer on the dirt side, big block and small block. Probably the most winningest driver in 2019, I'd have to say. Matt, you won all the big races, Super Dirt Week. You won, the $100,000 race at Orange County. The list went on of the big dollar races you won. So as a guy like you who's stuck in Canada right now, not to say it's a horrible thing, but as a race car driver who likes to travel around and hit all these big races, it's got to be exciting for you to have Cornwall coming up this weekend with Humberstone the next weekend. Not just practice races. Of course, fans can't really attend, but they'll be watching in good numbers, as you know. But for real payouts and to kind of get your end of the business, other than the fan situation, back to the track has got to be cool for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's just cool. I was watching earlier when Adam was talking about getting the industry going, and how many people are employed from the part suppliers to the people that make fire suits to the tire suppliers to the fuel suppliers to the racetrack itself. I mean, Adam hit the nail on the head. There's a lot of people that rely on this industry to get going. It's a lot more than just a recreational sport to some people. So it puts food on a lot of tables and it keeps our livelihoods going. So fortunately for me, I've worked really hard to make it a living, and I've got another job that kind of can support me while we're sitting at home doing nothing. So I want to get back to racing full time and do that and focus on that. But like I said, hopefully we can get this rolling. Kudos to Ray at Cornwall. I hope it's a hit. I hope the weekend after at Humberstone is a hit. Really, this is the biggest time in the industry. I would say to try and get it rolling. This is where we need everybody's support. We need all the race car drivers. It seems like we have the promoters. We need the fans. We need the fans to watch, whether it's to buy it for the Cornwall race or just even watch the Humberstone race. It's when we need it the most right now, and hopefully in a couple of weeks we can be talking about a lot more races.
Matt, let's talk about Cornwall. You've run good there in the past. You got to be feeling pretty good heading into one of the first races of the year around here. And, you got some good history at that tight little spot.
Yeah, Cornwall's a beautiful facility. If you've never been there, I'm sure you guys have, but fan point of view, I'm sure there's a few watching that haven't. It's right off the side of the 401. Great little place. Racy as hell. It's a really fun place to pull into, and know if you got a good car, you can usually go to the front. So I'm sitting in the trailer right now. We were working on the car tonight. It's sitting over there, and we're working hard at making sure we go up there and run good. It's probably not a big money maker for us to go up there and race for a regular purse. It's 5 hours away from my house, and it's going to take a lot. But like I said, we need to support the industry right now more than ever, and this is the time, and that's how I'm going to show that I support it.
Well, Adam asked you a question. Go give us a quick look at your race car. Adam, what do you got for Matty?
Matt, I want to know, how hard has it been for you to watch these races going on in South Carolina and Louisiana with the modifieds, and you're not able to get across to compete in them?
It's tough. I mean, the toughest part, I could cross. I have a visa to race in the States as a race car driver, as a professional race car driver, because we money obviously. So I I can get across, but then the ramifications of coming back and having to quarantine for 2 weeks and be away from friends and family, it just wasn't feasible. When racing kicks off and there's two or three in the States a week, um, or we can race, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then a midweek show. It's going to be worth it to cross it and worry about it. But right now, until that happens, we're just going to stay at home and hope the border opens up in a couple weeks and we get back to normal.
Matt, let's talk about Humberstone. You've turned some laps there. We've heard about a new surface going on. Dave's painted all the walls, got it ready for prime time, let's say. But what can you tell us about the surface at Humberstone and how that place is going to race going forward in this lockdown showdown coming up on June 13th?
Yeah, I mean, Dave and Jack and the guys there have done an awesome job. They've made the racetrack wider. They've got rid of the drainage problems that they used to have. Linda and Bobby, and Pete, they did an amazing job at the place to bring it to what it was. And over the years, it seemed like the racetrack kind of could use some improvements. So they've done those improvements, and I think it'll race really good. I'm hoping that the show we're going to put on in a couple of weeks is going to be a hit, and I'm hoping people get excited about it. It's going to be cool. It's going to be something we're going to talk about for a while if it makes a hit.
Do you have to tone down at all, do you think, your driving, Matt? Like, in terms of, are we there to put on a show, or do you have is the only thing on your mind to go forward? Like, will you drive these races any differently than you would a series race?
Obviously we're pretty competitive. Everybody in this sport is. That's what makes it pretty awesome. That we all go to the racetrack and we're battling out. That's what's cool about racing. But I'm certainly I've thought about it. I want Humberstone to make new race fans. I want people that haven't seen races before to be like, wow, that was cool to see, and that's something that I want to go check out when they open back up for fans. So that's been in the back of my mind. The Humberstone race, they're going to do a 25 lap segment, then another 25 laps where you can either pit or you can stay out. So I've talked to my crew guys, and we already have a strategy for it. And one is going to be kind of boring if we're up front, but the other one is going to be entertaining for the fans if we can come from the back in 25 laps. So it's going to be pretty cool, and I'm excited for it.
That's awesome, Matt. How's the local response been among your fellow modified drivers? We know the Thunderstocks are jumping at the bit to sign up. Response has been fairly quickly and well received here in the Niagara region for the 358 guys, correct?
Yeah. Everybody's excited to go racing. There's a few that don't have their cars together yet, which baffles me. We're June 1st or 2nd or whatever it is, and some people don't have motors and don't have cars together. But other than that, it's been great. Everybody. I reached out to Tom Neal yesterday. He had concerns about the racetrack and had been there in the past, and it was dusty. And I just reached out to him and said, we've been testing there, and it's been awesome. And it's probably something you want to support, because if we don't get the support, we might not race again this summer locally. Dave's probably sticking his neck out a little bit here and trying to do this race. And if it's not successful, we might not race in the Niagara region until next year. So we really need the support right now in this time. And, I hope to see everybody there. If there's people that have cars ready and they're sitting at home and they don't show up, it's sad. It's hopefully going to be a big hit, and hopefully the fans get an enjoyment out of it.
You said it, Matt. Thanks so much for joining us, and I look forward to watching your race in June. I'm going to be a part of that show, so I'll have a good seat for it, and I can't wait.
It'll be like old times with you guys announcing races down here. I'm excited about it.
That's right. I expect to see a mouse somewhere, a prominent mouse somewhere on the car.
No. That wasn't part of the deal.
No? Deals can be changed.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Matt. Good luck this
See you
weekend
later.
and the race is coming up. There's Matt Williamson, defending Super Dirt Car Series champion. Spencer, if you can, run the flyer for the Lockdown Showdown. This is going to be Humberstone Speedway, June 13th, live here on GeForce TV. You can catch it for free. You do not need to sign up. Basically, if you can get to YouTube, you can watch GeForceTV.net. There's the information. It's Operation Green Flag is the series of races, and we got a big announcement coming up right now about our next event coming up. So it'll be Lockdown Showdown, Mission Humberstone Speedway, 358 Modifieds and Thunderstocks. Make sure you catch it 7 p.m. Saturday, June 13th, live here on GeForce TV. So, Adam, no time like the present to announce our next race as part of Operation Green Flag, and the mission is going to be Dun dun dun. You say it.
Flamborough Speedway. We head to
Throw up the-
Flamborough on June 20th. 2 p.m. show. Pro late models and the young drivers of Canada, Canadian Vintage Modifieds, with great support from Grisdale Racing Products, McCall Racing Enterprises, and London Recreational Racing. I'm excited about this project, Clinton, because again, I think we're able to showcase racing to fans. A lot of fans have never seen Humberstone Speedway. They're going to watch that. We're going to promote Operation Green Flag going to Flamborough Speedway the next week, and maybe some fans see pro late model racing or see the vintage modifieds and think, oh my God, that reminds me when I was a kid in the 80s or the 70s. I can't believe these guys are still around.
Yeah, I'm super excited about it. For one, the pavement side of racing here in Ontario is massively underserviced when it comes to the video world. And you and I grew up in an announcing era when I don't think I've ever called a race on dirt that wasn't recorded by a VHS tape, a DVD, or a live stream. And then you go to the pavement world and there's just nobody offering that service at all. So I'm super excited to bring our tricks and toys over there and our mobile cameras and our speed shots and really put the Oshweekend style show that we've been known for in the past 3 to 4 seasons up on these other tracks at Humberstone, and then to take them to Flamborough. It's going to be super exciting to see the different perspective. Even the people who sat in the pits or the grandstands at Flamborough, just the placement of the cameras are going to give you a whole new bit of flavor on how you're going to view this race and how you're going to, experience it. So we're super excited about that. We've got our toys where I can roll with the mobile camera down the back straightaway forward wide with the sprint cars. I'm super excited to get in the middle of a late model field and give the fans at home that view. So there's a lot of things I'm pumped up about. We're trying out some new technology, possibly going to have some in-car camera technology if we can get that to transmit and work. But we're using this as a test ground on GeForce 2. So I'm super pumped about that. And that's not the end of it, folks. Next week, we're going to have another Operation Green Flag race to talk about. But if we got Doug Leonard, let's bring him in. Doug is the race director over at Flamborough Speedway after being our race director and still is. My right-hand man when it comes to race control Friday nights at Oshweekend, does a fantastic job keeping us. And the fact that we're on cue most of the time, Doug takes a bit of a shit kicking for being late on some nights, but that's just a product of the number of cars we've got to get through. B mains in both classes. It's crazy, but
I gotta pipe in with a question. I want to know if
sure.
Doug and Matt saved. Did you pool your money and share the same Amazon Razor, Doug? Because you're down to the wood as well.
We might have. I was actually, mine went on May 24 weekend up at my mom's cottage. I was overlooking the water. And my girlfriend went to town on it. She was nervous, but she did a great job. We went a little bit longer on the top and shorter on the sides. And my age is balding me, so it helps out too.
But she went all the way around. Like it's all the same.
Oh, it is. I mean, it's just I got one big potato head, and we just did it all one shape. Worked out good.
That's awesome. So, Doug, let's talk about Flamborough Speedway and what kind of show we can give the fans.
Oh, I mean, it's exciting. I left the racetrack today after work, and John and Frank are just beaming year to year. I mean, they've been working all hard all spring on souping the place up. Just, I mean, people are going to see it that haven't been at the racetrack since last year, or even those that are new. Just the improvements they've made. I mean, unfortunately, I know we're not going to be using the concession stands, but the Flamburger sign has been re-improved. Upstairs in the tower has been all redone thanks to the Waterloo Regional Kart Club. We're going to be painting on the walls on it. I mean, the format that you two have come up with, I think, is really exciting. I spoke to John Carley on the way home tonight. He's excited with the Canadian Vintage Modifieds. I mean, I know we'll have the support with the Pro Late models as well.
So let's break it down. I've got to make two quick announcements, Clint. Since the poster came out, the late models are almost certainly going to pay $2,000 to win, not $1,500 like the poster shows. And the vintage modifieds are going to pay $625 to win, not like the poster shows. So what we're finding is people are we needed to create something, and we worked with John Caselli and Frank Caselli and Gary Colling and Doug Leonard and the great partners from McCall and Grisdale's, Mike Schmidt from London Rec, to say, hey, this is the baseline for what needs to happen to put this race on. now that it's out there and announced, I expect a lot of things to happen. It wouldn't surprise me to see lap money come into play, more sponsors to bolster some of the numbers, because it's going to be a race like no fans allowed. You have to watch the stream if you want to watch, unless you are one of 4 crew members. Each registered car can bring 4 crew members and nobody else. So if you want to support this event, the way to support it is to join GeForceTV.net. It's free. Just click the bell, click the button to like it. It is a free stream. Share it. Show the world how strong the racing community is. When it goes on Rev TV, which is going to be a huge deal, these drivers are going to be racing in front of a national audience. Promote it. Share it on the socials. This is going to be an amazing experience that you're not going to see come around too many times in this lifetime. Thank goodness. I mean, I wouldn't want to go through what we went through to get to this, but I'm really excited. So Doug, who better to explain the race format, Doug? Is it better to have you do it or Clint do it?
Clint's the announcer. He's better words than I am. I can certainly pipe in, but I'll let him announce it. This is you two's idea and that, so certainly don't want to steal his thunder.
Well, I think the idea came with, to play up on the lockdown and the quarantine situation we're in. So by breaking it up, instead of just having a straight 60-lap race, by breaking up into 230s and by breaking the Canadian Vintage Modified race up into twin 20s, it brings strategy into a race. And I think as an announcer, that gives us a lot more things to talk about. You heard Matt Williamson. He mentioned that with the same rules at Humberstone on the dirt. So there's a couple points to it. It brings in strategy. It gives the announcers a lot of things to talk about. It gives new opportunities for guys who maybe aren't running that great to stay out and not, or come in and work on their car depending on where they are. And I think it's going to be super exciting to bring a whole new brand. And even with the Canadian Vintage Modifieds, they're going to have a chance to go in, make adjustments on their car or lock down as well on a shorter break, more like 5 minutes. But it's still going to be exciting to see the strategy come into play. The other thing we're excited about this, as we announce these Operation Green Flag events going forward, with the commonality in the rules, the dirt fans watching the pavement are going to understand what rules we're playing by, and vice versa. And Doug, I want to come back to you to talk about the old racing is, a dirt sport, or racing is a pavement sport, or dirt's for growing potatoes and the asphalt's for getting there, and all that type of stuff. You're a guy who came off the dirt specifically a few seasons ago, took over an important role at Flamborough Speedway, and you've seen how great the pavement racing can be. And I was a dirt snob too for many years, working at Ushweek and Merrittville Humberstone, and then I went to work for the Oscar Group and Flamborough, and I got to see that the racing can be very exciting. They've got some fantastic personalities, and the best way I could describe it is, dirt is balls to the wall and pray when you get to the end of the straightaway, and the asphalt is a lot more precise, precision, and it's a lot more measured. So both have their taste. I found there was great excitement in both, and maybe you can talk, Doug, a bit about what our dirt fans are going to see when we cross-pollinate, and for the asphalt fans who maybe know you from the Flamborough side, what they're going to see when we get the dirt stuff going. I think we're going to provide great racing from both surfaces.
Yeah, I grew up at Cuga Speedway, got hired on at Oswego Speedway, have the luxury of working with the Super Dirt Car Series. 3 years ago, I was asked to come race direct at Flamborough, so I went back to the pavement. They're two different breeds or two different animals, but at the same time, it's racing. And as Adam hit, there's a lot of people out there that are motorheads that just want racing. So I think you're going to find a lot of fans that are pavement fans pay attention to the live stream at Humberstone, but then we're going to have a lot of the dirt fans that are going to want to check out what's going on at Flamborough Speedway as well. Yep. It's racing. As I used to say, I used to talk to the Slack family, and they'd have Thanksgiving dinners, and one of the relatives was Bernie Ruoff, and he was a football player for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and he wanted to watch football. Well, the Slack family were just motorheads, and they would watch swamp buggy racing just so they could watch a motorsport event. And I think that's what we're going to find in these next 2 weeks here, even with Cornwall and that. We're just going to have racing fans. I'd be interested to see what your numbers are at the end of the events, because I think it's going to be huge.
Yeah. Let's be clear. No matter what your racing event is, they would all be better if there was a sippy hole.
Yes. Hey, the awards start come in on my end now, Adam. I got a message from the guys at Epic. Bob Bailey says, "Hey, let's do the Epic move of the race. Winner from each class will get something from Epic Race, where we'll work out the details, but we want to be involved." So I think you're right, Adam. It's going to snowball. There'll be more and more stuff going on as we get further down this road. But super excited to be bringing this to the fans. As we mentioned, you can go to gforcetv.net. It's totally free. If you click the subscribe button, it's no sign up, no paperwork. All you do is by subscribing, it just means you'll get a notification and be alerted when we have something going on, especially if you click the bell beside it. And you won't miss any of the great stuff. And I think, Doug, the whole thing we talked about with GeForce is cross-pollinating the Oshweekend fans with the iRacing fans, with some of the Land of Legends stuff going on down there. And now we're going to have a lot of this other, a whole side of racing that the three of us know, but the people who know us from dirt maybe not realize the history we've got on the pavement. So excited to bring these races forward. And anything else you want to add to that, Doug, or anything we want to mention to the fans about what's going to happen here?
So, if you don't mind, I want to walk through how the way Flamborough Speedway is going to go is probably more similar to a dirt race than a typical asphalt race because of social distancing and timing. So the gates are going to open. Your tires are going to be laid out in pit stalls. So call Grisdale's, order your tires. We highly recommend people go and practice leading up to this event. I mean, make sure your cars are shook down. You're going to have a little bit of time to unload, but not a lot of time. Unload, there's going to be 30 minutes of practice for late models, then 30 minutes of practice for vintage modifieds. Immediately following that practice is going to be one more, well, it's not really a practice, it's a time trial. It'll be group time trials for both divisions. So you're not going to be all day practicing to set up for later in the night. You're going to have the one practice, 30 minutes. Next time you're on the track is going to be for a time trial. That's how the race is going to be lined up. You're going to race through the halfway mark of the race. So the yellow would probably come out at the end of lap 30 for the late models, the end of lap 20 for the vintage modifieds. Basically, a yellow flag is going to be thrown. The field will be put in order and led into the pits all the way to turn 4. You go back to turn 4, you line up in the staging area, you keep your spot. If you decide to stop in your pit.
Nope. Lost Adam there somehow. Did we lose Adam?
Looks like it.
All right, so I'll pick up. So what Adam was saying is if you go into lockdown or quarantine area, we haven't decided what we're going to call it yet, which would be at the staging area where you come back on. If we got Adam, he can take over, but I was just trying to help him out.
No, awesome. My mic keeps cutting out, and I quickly have to jump off and jump back in. But that's where we were getting to the dramatic part. The lockdown is if you go to the staging area, your car is locked down. Nobody touches the car. The driver can stay in or get out. When it's time to go back racing, one crew person can help you back into the car, but nobody touches it. If you choose to go to your pit, go ahead and go to your pits. Late models, you're going to have a full vintage modified feature to do whatever you want to your cars. You're going to line up in whatever order you get to the staging area in. So if you're able to stop and make a pit stop basically and adjust in 2 minutes, drive to the staging area, you're going to start ahead of all the other cars still pitting in their pit stalls. So that's the lockdown challenge. If you're confident with your setup, you think you got the winning piece under you, don't stop in your pits. If you do, it's going to cost you a lot of spots. How'd I do, Clint?
Excellent, Doug. What are your thoughts on this? I think it's going to bring a new wrinkle to the standard Flamborough race. Going to bring some new strategy in, and going to bring some new excitement.
Yeah, I think Matt hit it right on the head. I mean, it's what's the strategy going to be? I mean, if you think you make an adjustment, we run 30 lappers on Saturday night with the pro late models, and many times somebody can battle from the back and get up into the top 5. So it'll be real exciting. I mean, we're going to have one of the better fields, obviously, there because everyone's itching to get going on it. So I love the format. I think especially for a crowd aspect and announcement, is that you guys can really build it up. I mean, what's the leader going to do, or what's the guy in 5th place going to do? Is he staying in? Is he staying out? It's no different than we're watching these stage races in NASCAR. I mean, Chase Elliott there a couple weeks ago, pitted with 2 to go. I mean, is that something that they're going to do on lap 30 or lap 20? I mean, so I'm really excited for this event.
All right, Doug, thanks for being with us. Spencer, roll the flyer once more, and we'll just give everybody a final rundown here. Operation Green Flag Mission Flamborough, Pro Late Models and the Canadian Vintage Modifieds, presented by Grisdale Racing Products, McCall Racing Enterprises, London Recreational, and Young Drivers of Canada, Canadian Vintage Modifieds. It's the Pro Late model, and the purse has already gone up for a 60 lap with a lockdown break, and the Canadian Vintage Modifieds there has already been increased to $625 to win with a 40 lap race with a middle lockdown break. Watch it free on GeForceTV.net. And of course, as we mentioned, the footage is going to go off to Rev TV Canada, and we are still trying to figure out their package. But as these events continue to develop, it's looking more and more like it's going to be a primetime series, like it was the Ush Weekend deals on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I can't guarantee that yet, but we're giving them some amazing footage from the short tracks here in Ontario, and they're excited to get their hands on it. So great things
And
for all of us.
To complete the package, vintage modified drivers, if you want to know how to get into the show, contact John Carley. If you're a late model racer, the entry fee for this event is $250. That includes the driver and 4 crew members. You cannot show up with
Spencer,
5 crew members.
I just sent Spencer the info.
Spencer will
Spencer, you got that? Throw it up on the screen. So if you
you
want to
are
get
not
involved,
pre-registered, if you're not pre-registered for the event, you are not getting into the event. If you are not on the list as a Speedway Essential employee or as one of the crew people for one of the registered teams, you are also not getting into the track. You won't be able to buy a pit pass that day. You have to register ahead of time. So send an email to Gary Calling. If you're more traditional, give John Casale a call. We'll get you on the list. I expect we will know exactly who's racing well over a week from the event. We're going to know the grids, who we can expect to be showing up. But don't be disappointed on race day. If you have not pre-registered, you are out of luck.
All right, Doug, thanks for being with
us.
That's
it. Sorry, guys. I mean, Adam hit it right on the head. I mean, we were asking that everybody shows up with your crew, just like we're doing on practice night. So if it's 5 crew members, and the driver, they're all in the same truck, and that. So you can't come in ahead of time. You got to come with your team. We'll come out with some times here in the next near future and all this stuff as to when we want people there at the racetrack and gates open and whatnot. So really appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me on the show, and have a good show for the rest of the night here.
Thanks so much, Doug. As far as a rain date, we've got to talk to John Casale, but these events are going to happen, right? We've got the investments made, so we fully intend on doing the event. If it rains on race day, we will find another day to do it. And Clint, I'm excited. This all was created by such a strange series of events. And to explain what we bring to the table is our broadcast team. We're bringing our whole production crew that we use at Ohsweken Speedway, and most of the equipment that we use at Ohsweken Speedway, because we're able to deliver the product from the track to phones, TVs. Like, we can send them anywhere. Anyone is going to be able to see this racing. We'd love to have huge audiences each and every week. When we are done, we are providing that footage to Rev TV so they can package it into a primetime broadcast. I mean, these are things that haven't happened in many, many years. In fact, they take me back to the days. Remember when Raceline TV used to, I think every year they showed the TQ midgets from Peterborough for a few years there in different events like that. It's been that long since we've had this kind of a showcase.
Yeah, I think the way the industry's come together, even from the broadcast entities, Rev TV, they didn't want to battle with us. They said, let's work together. Let's give it live on the stream. We will package it into something fancy on the backside and really give everybody the play. And Adam, you and I can maybe attest to the benefits of being on Rev TV Canada. We experienced it last year with our Ohsweken stuff as commentators and bringing the sprint car racers. And many times we would be at race tracks across the country for different events, and people come up to us and we would think they would want to talk about the event we were there attending, but a lot of them wanted to talk about the sprint car stuff. We found a lot of people in Quebec were watching and were super excited what was going on, as well as out west and really in the Maritimes. So it kind of made our Ohsweken drivers a little bit of celebrities because they got so much play. And I think it's going to open up the eyes of the rest of the country on what a hotbed Southern Ontario really is for racing.
It really is, Clinton. And can we use this as a segue to our next topic? Speaking of Southern Ontario being a hotbed for racing, we just wrapped up on Sunday night the Canadian Sim Racing Series, which drew some of the best racers in Canada. I mean, we had Raphael Lessard, Alex Labey, Olivier Bedard, Bertrand Godin. Who, some of these drivers are a little bit beyond where their prime was, but they were really good racers. Throw into that the lesser known Reinhardt brothers, Blake and Brock Reinhardt, who came out and really surprised us with some great runs. And of course, the Lapsevich brothers, Caden Lapsevich and Trayton Lapsevich. And lo and behold, doesn't young Trayton Lapsevich rise up and shine above them all, taking the championship Sunday night in an absolute wild final couple of laps at Atlanta on iRacing. Congratulations, Trayton Lapsevich. I believe we've got you here with us on a fantastic championship run. We
Trayton,
see him
can you hear us?
moving.
Hello, am I here?
Hey,
We got you.
Trayton.
Hey.
Great to have you on. I was talking about what a wild race that was on Sunday night and a hard-earned championship, man. It came down to the final lap and then an extra 2 days for things to get figured out because it got a little bit crazy there, but great job.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Really crazy last race, and but overall the series was really good. Big thanks to everyone for putting that on. Adam and your whole team there, Clinton and Jason. Every race was really fun. We had a lot of good competition, and yeah, you really never knew who was going to win each week. I think there had to be a few different winners, so it was definitely good competition and fun to watch too.
Trey, we had a good mix of the tracks. Which one gave you the most headaches?
Probably Montreal. Going into Montreal, I really wasn't sure what to expect. I'd done some testing, but it was really hard to be consistent there. All the little tight corners, I would overshoot them a lot. So going to that race, I was a little weary. But it turned out pretty good for me, and I got a good finish there.
Adam, did anybody like Montreal? Sorry to cut you off, but I don't think anybody was happy there. I think I packed in after practice number one. I was like, I don't need to do this.
I couldn't believe the level of anger that could be generated by simulated racing. It was intense.
Certainly was.
Trayton, how did you bounce back from that? You took a lot of French heat after CTMP because you asserted yourself there, and
Oh yeah.
and you did what you had to do. And in stock car racing, I don't know that Olivier Bedard was ready for the rubbing that he took, but how nerve-wracking was it for you the next two races, knowing that you might have been a bit of a marked man out there?
Well, I knew there was definitely a target on my back from the French side of things, so that was always on the back of my mind, and I was telling Caden about it every race. I was like, I'm kind of worried about this one, but I just kept driving like I could, and I sort of came out of CTMP knowing, like, I know I roughed Olivier up a bit, but then again, he was on a different strategy than us, and he was also driving me pretty rough too.
Oh, it's always give and take, and that's what people tend to forget sometimes. They'll point to an incident and not really point out the number of incidents that happened to lead up to one memorable moment. So coming down to Atlanta, which is a treacherous track, it's a track without a lot of grip. It's a track where things happen in a hurry and they can gather up a lot of cars. You had to come back through the field in that one. It wasn't an easy drive.
Yeah, Atlanta really scared me. It started out as a really good race. I got up to the front pretty quick, but after that incident there on a restart, which sent me to the back, I was pretty worried. And I told Caden, I'm like, I'm just gonna be patient, getting back through. I knew I didn't have any fast sprays left, so I really had to make sure I didn't get myself in any messes. So, and then I finally took the two tires that one caution. Caden didn't quite agree with me, but I kind of got him in on it too, and it really paid off for us in the end because the two tires didn't really seem to affect us. And then finally, we had a good run and got on the same strategy as everybody else, and we gained a lot of track position from it.
Awesome job. Let's talk about your outdoor season a little bit, and then we'll get into our Burger Barn video of the week, which is the highlight reel from this week's race. Outdoor program, basically like the rest of us, kind of been on hold. But have you got any insight as to when your first race might be, Trayton, in the outdoor cars?
It's been nothing so far. We were at the shop last night because my mom's car broke down. Like it kind of does that. It's a weekly thing. So that really got the itch for me, and I was bugging my dad about it. So we'll see how that comes in the future. I was scheduled to make my Pinty's debut, but we're just not sure when that's going to happen yet because we haven't seen any scheduling with the NASCAR stuff yet. But no, I heard you guys talking about that Flamber race, so maybe I can get dad in on that one.
Now, as a youngster, it's got to be frustrating. I mean, you've got your whole racing career ahead of you. You've had some success. You had to feel like this was setting up for your best year. Obviously, the NASCAR opportunity. How frustrating is it, Trayton, to be stuck here kind of in standstill mode?
It's really frustrating. Like you said, like I felt like this was going to be my big year. I got the opportunity to run in NASCAR thanks to RGC and Leland Industries. I was really excited for that. And then along with the APC side of things, I came runner up a couple times there last season. So I was really looking for that breakout win in that series this year. And yeah, I really hope we get some racing in this summer. I'm really eager.
Yeah, I imagine we will eventually, Trayton, but congratulations on the success that you have had, and not just with the CSRS series on Sunday nights, but you're running the Rowdy series as well. Do you think your iRacing success turns any more heads than you already have? Like, do you think it matters?
I think iRacing's been pretty good for publicity for me, and then obviously all the racers whose seasons have been put on standstill because of this incident. Uh, it's helped us cater to a lot of new audiences, especially the CSRS. It got us into the French crowd, and then the Rowdy Series, Speed 51, broadcasting that to all of North America and pretty much anywhere. So I've gotten quite a good amount of publicity out of that, and really thankful for it. It was good to get going on the off season and still keep my skills pretty sharp.
All right, Trayton. Well, congratulations as the CSRS champion, and we're going to take a look at the highlights. Stay safe, buddy, and hopefully we'll see you at an upcoming race soon. You got something, Adam?
Trayton, do me a favor. Yeah, stay with us and watch the highlights. I want to ask you something after the highlights are done. Let's watch them together. Do you have another 5 minutes?
Yeah, I'm good.
Spencer, roll the highlights.
The championship round of the Canadian Sim Racing Series takes the green flag here at the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway, and it looks like it's going to be Blake Reinhardt who's going to take the early advantage through turns 1 and 2. Lapsevich getting out front early, finding his nose to the front.
He's been fast at every event, has shown a lot of speed at every event, and more times than not has found himself out in front.
Bertrand Godin down low. Godin moves up to the outside, and that's where the contact is made. I don't know if Lapsevich came down on him or Godin just...
Laps now in the books. We are just 4 laps shy of halfway, and we've got trouble. And your points leader, Alex LeBay, is involved. Trouble in turn number 1.
00 car was up front and did not take 4 tires. It appeared once again, had trouble on the restart on the backstretch.
Trouble involving your points leader, Alex LeBay. He was running in the 23rd position, and he was caught up in a mess down the back straightaway. You saw 3 or 4 cars involved.
Feeling a little bit of the push down towards the inside. Ringler up high. Trayton Lapsevich still pushing hard. Gets the nose ahead of Trent Ringler as they enter corner number 1. He should be able to sweep through and take that position coming out of corner number 2. New leader, the 32 car, back out in front. Right now, in terms of the championship, Alex LeBay looks good, but you do not want to put yourself in a bad position. Trayton Lapsevich still leading the field.
Trayton Lapsevich will pick up the win here at the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway, winning the championship round of the Canadian Sim Racing Series.
And that's how it ended. Donuts on the front straightaway. But I want to talk to you about 2 restarts. One with you on the outside pole and Bertrand Godin on the inside. And I don't even know who was on the inside of the other restart. But how frustrating is it? 2 things. One, Godin just couldn't fire. He didn't have 4 fresh tires and slides into you and puts you into the wall. But he also came over the radio, and Bertrand Godin's a great person and a great race car driver, or at least he was. He swore that he got hit from behind, and there was no one anywhere close. You just can't get on the throttle. He hits you, you hit the wall. How do you deal with that on the outside pole? Did you think your championship was ruined?
I definitely had that feeling there. Like, I'm not quite sure what happened there. He said he got hit from behind, but I know there was a lot of wheel spin on fresh tires, and he didn't even take tires, so I'm sure it was worse on his tires. I was expecting him to keep running his line going straight, and I guess he sort of came up into me a bit, or I came down. I'm not sure, but I definitely thought my hopes were ruined there. I knew we had one faster pair, so that was relieving, but I was really scared to come back through the field because I'm just not sure how that would play out. Just one mistake from me or another driver around me, and that would be the end of my race.
For sure. I watched that replay a couple of times just because I remember the conversation it started, and it just looked to me like when he hit the throttle, you two touched a little bit. But as you know, you don't have to touch tires real significantly. Once you lock together, you don't know which direction the cars are going to come off of that contact. And I just think it pushed both of you towards the wall. And like I say, there was nobody close to either of your back bumpers at that moment. But yeah, definitely a hair-raising moment on your championship night.
Yeah, that was a really weird situation because we just we got together and then it's just shot him right through me. It was really weird for sure. But iRacing's pretty what word I'm looking for? You just don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Inconsistent.
Clinton, do you have any? If you don't have any more, Clinton, the only thing I want to say is the 1980s versions of NASCAR stock cars came out today. Of course, Connor bought both of them. So, Trayton, have you done any 1980s stock car racing yet?
Yeah, I took one to Martinsville earlier. It was a lot of fun.
Those things look awesome, Clint.
Adam's brewing up his next idea.
There'll be something there, but we'll let you go for now, Trayton. Thanks so much. I'm glad you stuck around to watch the highlights with us. Congratulations.
Yep, thanks for having me, guys, and thanks for all the work you guys put in this series. A lot of fun.
Thanks, Trayton. Congrats. Trayton Lapsevich, upcoming star here in Canada and on the iRacing platform as well. Adam, things have been cruising along pretty good.
Yeah, that was okay to keep him around for that, don't you think? I figured he should at least watch the highlights with us.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure how long they were and didn't want him hanging out if he had to go. Spencer, quickly, let's review some of the news in case viewers are new joining us. Operation Green Flag is fully underway, which has announced 2 events so far here in Southern Ontario. First up will be June 13th, the Lockdown Showdown Mission Humberstone Speedway 358 Modifieds and Thunderstocks. Saturday, June 13th at 7 p.m. Watch it free here on GeForce TV Live, and then on the rebroadcast on Rev TV in prime time in the following weeks after that. Mission 2 will be at Flamborough Speedway, Operation Green Flag, Pro Late Models, and Canadian Vintage Modifieds at Saturday, June 20th at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, presented by Grisdale, McCall Racing Enterprises, London Recreational, and the Canadian Vintage Modified Young Drivers Racing Series. So super excited about that. Pro Late Models and the Canadian Vintage Modifieds, 2 divisions with tons of history at Flamborough, and we're excited to bring those packages to you. Next week, we will be announcing the Saturday, June 27th event, and possibly even the weekend after that, as things have really started to ramp up. Talks are going. We thought we might have maybe 3 to 4 series. It looks like it may end up 6 to 10 now by the time we're all done. Of course, we're only booking about a month out at a time right now as we watch with the government, but I mean, doesn't look like anything is going to move to the next stage in the next 4 weeks. They just announced we're going to hold everything down here in our part of the world anyways for another 30 days. So this at least allows us to get out, get racing for payouts. Everything is normal except the hot dogs and the fans won't be there. So, obviously a big part. Yeah. I wish we could have got at least written into our contract that Frank would have to fire at the barbecue for Flamburgers for the TV crew at least. I want a revision to the contract for that because I love Flamburgers, but I got about a 1.5 tolerance and then I'm out after that. So excited to get back to Flamborough, as we mentioned, and bring some of the views we're going to have. I've been daydreaming about Humberstone and how cool it's going to look to get cameras all over that place as well, and to bring the 358 modified. So a lot more races we expect to come down. We know 2 more are in the pipe, and we'll be ready to announce them in the coming week. And that's super exciting. I think we're on the right path to get things done. So just quickly here with 5 minutes left to go, if you got anything you want to ask us or anything you want to discuss. Someone mentioned Weekend. I'm told they are going to be behind what the province does. The province is keeping things locked down for another month, so it doesn't look like anything will happen in June. Hopefully we can get an update at the start of July for what could possibly happen at Ohsweken Speedway. With that being said, there is talk of some of the other Ohsweken divisions getting some events on the go, out on the road, and we'll bring you more of that news as it comes. I mean, they've already announced the Thunderstocks will be part of the 358 deal, and the other dirt divisions are excited and ready to try and make something happen as well. So we'll have more news there.
Let's take
Mike
the
Mitchell, no
time.
hints on the next races. You know what, Mike? I would love to tell you everything I know right now about the next two races we're going to announce, but you guys are just going to have to speculate and guess or tell us what you want to see.
Things happen
Unfortunately,
fast.
yeah, unfortunately, the contracts and the deals haven't been shooken out far enough yet that we can go out and bring the news out. We worked hard to get the Flamborough deals on. Let's face it, Adam, that only came together at dinner time today to be able to push it out on the show today. So we really pushed all the partners to get it together and give us an answer, and we appreciate them coming in to make that happen. Fran answers, does that mean the board will be shut down beyond June 21st? It will likely still be locked down for a while here in Ontario, I think.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Adam.
We have to stress this to any racers or race teams that are watching. How things progress from here is very much in your hands. There are going to be stringent rules for these races on where people can be, where they cannot be. How do you need to, masks. You plan on wearing a mask for most of those days. How we handle these events really is going to play a big part in how quickly or how slowly things are able to open back up again. This is our opportunity to make motorsports and racing people shine in Ontario. It is a big responsibility. The onus is on all of us, so take it seriously, please.
Yeah, there are a lot of people in the industry who are nervous about these events because we've finally made some ground with the government, and we certainly don't want to be going backwards. And you and your team don't want to be the one that makes the whole industry go backwards. And that's one thing we talked about. In today's day and age, you can't hide from cell phones and stuff. So if you do something stupid, everybody's going to know it was you. So just don't be that guy. Let's get out. Let's have some fun. Let's show the industry. We have the opportunity also, Adam, to be one of the biggest pro-am sports. Some guys are pros, some are amateurs. But to get the sport up and going with live sports for our fans to watch, baseball can't do that. Football can't do that. Lacrosse can't do that. Hockey can't do that yet. Like, we have a major advantage here to get out front of a lot of people who maybe are just hunkering for anything. Like you mentioned on this show a few weeks ago, you'd watch cricket if it was live just to see anything. So I think you're going to see a lot more people come back. This is a chance to show off our sport to a lot of people who maybe are sitting at home wanting something to do, people who maybe left the sport behind many years ago because they had kids and moved on. This is a great chance to bring them back for free with no signups. And that was a big thing we pushed. We talk about the math on it too, Adam. Teams are being asked to pay $250 basically across the Ontario board here at all the tracks. That's the going rate for 5 drivers right now. But nobody's making money on this. The broadcast team isn't making money. They're getting the expenses covered. Rev TV to put something together, they're having to cover their airtime and put all that together. You've got the tracks who have so many expenses to begin with, including, safety crew, towing, staff, ambulance, fire. I mean, the list goes on, cleanup crew, scorekeepers, flag people, all these jobs go on, and they all need to be covered to run a race event. And the tracks have taxes to cover, property tax stuff. So the expenses go on. And the math behind this, and you and I that's one thing about all these Operation Green Flag events. We're intimately involved in the math. I can tell you, if you make it work and you got full fields, that's why, as you mentioned, it's important that the drivers get out and support these events, because this may be your only chance. And Matt Williamson said, if we don't make this one work, this may be the only chance we get to race this year. If you can get out and show you put on a show, everybody's going to support it. And yeah, it's a bit of a premium right now, but that's one thing. We get it. Nobody ever goes to the races to make money. You certainly try not to lose as much as you can, but
I'll warn you ahead of time. If someone If someone comes to me and talks about how it's unfair to have to pay an entry fee to race because you're putting on a show, I may not talk to you for very long. This is an opportunity to come out and play, to showcase our sport together. I've already heard a little bit about it, and I mean, who am I kidding, Clinton? I listen to complaints. I listen to people too much, probably. I give people too much opportunity to vent. I won't listen to that for too long. This is the playground is being opened up for people to come out and play and get some great exposure. I mean, your sponsors, if you've got sponsors that weren't able to help you this year because of the situation, this is a great chance to pay them back for help that they've given you. If you've got sponsors who can benefit from your support, by all means, do something for them. You know, step up and give them a great return on things. It's a lot of people sticking their necks out on the line for this.
Yeah, and a lot of these payouts have been increased over the regular amount, or will be inflated to that through sponsorships and stuff. So, I mean, I give it a shot. Come on out. Yes, you're asking to be paid maybe $10, $15 more at the back gate, but it's for the sport you love to make it work. And like we said, there's not any money. Nobody is running away with thousands of dollars to the bank here. A track might make a couple hundred if everything goes perfectly. So,
Yeah.
it's like we talked to the TV folks. If there was a lot of money being made here, we could understand a different financial plan. But the way things are with the industry, let's just keep the engines idling. At least get it in gear a little bit now, and show basically all the sponsors that our sport rallied together to make something happen. And this is why they should continue to support us going forward.
You got it.
All right, Operation Green Flag, ladies and gentlemen. We'll show the posters 2 more times. Don't forget, we got all kinds of great programming coming up on GeForce TV. You can log on to www.geforcetv.net, subscribe, and get your notifications right now for free if you want, so you don't miss anything. Here's round 1 of Operation Green Flag. It will be at Humberstone Speedway. Mission 2 will be... Okay, hang on that one for a second, Spencer. Lockdown Showdown, presented by GeForce TV Live, Operation Green Flag. It's going to be Saturday, June 13th, 7 p.m., 358 Modifieds and Thunderstocks. Next one will be at Flamborough Speedway, Pro Late Models and Canadian Vintage Modified, Saturday, June 20th at 2 p.m. We've got 2 more shows we're working on announcing in the next week. Stick around, folks. We'll be back at you with more programming than you know what to do with, and real racing coming down the pipe in less than 2 weeks' time. We'll talk to you soon, folks. Thanks, Adam. Thanks, Spencer. Thanks, everyone, for being a part of Rivalz Race Chat. We appreciate your time.